The leak nobody saw coming has just shattered the internet. And I'm still trying to process what I just witnessed after months of silence. The gates have finally opened. And what's been revealed about The Chosen Season 6 is beyond anything we could have imagined. The official trailer has surfaced in the most unexpected way. And the release date that's now circulating is making fans question everything they thought they knew about this season's arrival. But here's what's really shocking: the footage that's emerged shows scenes so intense, so emotionally devastating, that even the cast members are warning us we might not be ready for what's coming. And honestly, after seeing what I've seen, I don't know if any of us are prepared for the weight of what Dallas Jenkins and his team have created this time. Let me start by saying this: the trailer leak happened in the most unusual circumstances, and the way it came to light has left the entire Chosen community in absolute chaos. Just days ago, a private screening event took place for a select group of ministry leaders and early supporters, and somehow footage from that event found its way online within hours. Social media exploded with reactions, screenshots, and frame-by-frame analyses of what people caught glimpses of, and let me tell you, what's in this trailer is nothing short of breathtaking and heartbreaking at the same time. The trailer opens with complete silence. Not a single sound, just darkness, and then we hear the sound of chains, heavy metallic chains being dragged across stone. The camera slowly reveals Jesus, and the look on Jonathan Rumi's face in that very first frame is enough to break. You can see the weight of what's about to unfold written across every feature. And the cinematography captures it in a way that feels almost too real, too raw. This isn't the Jesus we've watched teach by the sea or perform miracles with a gentle smile. This is Jesus stepping into the darkest hours of human history, knowing exactly what awaits him. What strikes me most about this leaked trailer is how Dallas Jenkins has chosen to frame the suffering. It's not gratuitous, it's not overdone, but it's undeniably powerful. We see flashes of the trial scenes: Caiaphas standing before Jesus with an expression of cold determination, the Sanhedrin members whispering among themselves, their faces twisted with anger and fear. The lighting in these scenes is deliberately dim, casting shadows that make everything feel suffocating and claustrophobic. You can almost feel the walls closing in on Jesus as the religious leaders circle around him like predators who've finally cornered their prey. And then there's Peter. Oh, Peter. The trailer gives us a gut-wrenching glimpse of his denial scene, and I'm telling you right now, this is going to absolutely destroy us when we watch the full episode. We see him standing by a fire, the flames illuminating his face as someone points at him, accusing him of being one of Jesus's followers. The terror in his eyes is so visceral, so genuine, that you forget you're watching a performance. And in the background, just barely visible through a doorway, we catch a glimpse of Jesus being led away, and the moment their eyes meet across that distance, everything stops. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the devastating realization of what Peter has just done, it's all there in that single, silent exchange. I don't think I've ever seen a more powerful portrayal of that biblical moment, and we haven't even watched the full scene yet. The pacing of the trailer is masterful. It doesn't rush, it lets moments breathe, lets the weight of each scene sink in before moving to the next. We see Judas, his face streaked with tears, clutching the bag of silver coins as if they're burning his hands. We see Mary, Jesus's mother, her expression shifting from confusion to horror as she begins to understand what's happening to her son. We see the other disciples scattered, hiding, afraid, and the contrast between their fear and Jesus's calm resolve is striking. Even in chains, even facing the most unjust trial in history, Jesus maintains that unwavering composure we've come to know and love throughout the series. But here's where the trailer takes a turn that nobody expected. Toward the end, we get our first real look at the crucifixion preparation scenes. And they've clearly spared no effort in showing the brutality of what Jesus endured. We don't see everything, the trailer is careful about that. But what we do see is enough to make your breath catch. The crown of thorns being pressed onto his head, the crossbeam being laid across his shoulders, the walk through the streets as crowds jeer and mock. And through it all, Jonathan Rumi's performance is so committed, so fully embodied, that you forget this is an actor playing a role. This is Jesus walking willingly toward the cross, carrying the weight of humanity's sin with every agonizing step. Now, about that release date that's been leaked alongside this trailer, and this is where things get really interesting. According to multiple sources who attended that private screening, an official announcement slide was shown at the end of the trailer, and it confirms something that's going to change all our plans. For fall 2026, the release date that flashed across the screen has sent shockwaves through the community, and honestly, it's earlier than most of us anticipated. According to the leaked information, The first batch of episodes from The Chosen Season 6 will premiere on October 3rd, 2026. Yes, you heard that correctly, October 3rd. That's just months away from where we're standing right now, and the reality of how close we are to witnessing this monumental season is starting to hit differently. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. The release strategy is unlike anything The Chosen has done before, and it's going to completely change how we experience this season. Instead of the traditional weekly episode drops that we've grown accustomed to, Season 6 will be released into major waves. The first 6 episodes will all become available on the same day, October 3rd, 2026, exclusively through the Chosen app and their website. That means we'll have the opportunity to binge-watch Jesus's arrest, trials, and everything leading up to the crucifixion in one emotionally exhausting sitting if we choose to. And I have to be honest, I don't know if I have the emotional strength to do that. Watching Jesus suffer through 6 consecutive episodes sounds like it might be too much for my heart to handle in one day, but at the same time, the thought of spacing it out and prolonging that agony seems equally unbearable. The leaked materials also revealed that each episode in this first wave will be longer than usual. We're talking about episodes ranging from 55 to 70 minutes each. Dallas Jenkins apparently felt that the story couldn't be rushed, that every moment needed room to breathe and carry its full emotional weight, and based on what we've seen in the trailer, that decision was absolutely the right call. This isn't a season where you can compress the suffering into quick, digestible chunks. This is a season that demands time, that requires us to sit in the discomfort and really feel the magnitude of what Jesus endured for us. Now, let's talk about what else the leaked trailer revealed about the actual content of these episodes. Because there are some scenes teased that I cannot stop thinking about. There's a moment in the trailer where we see Pontius Pilate alone in a room, washing his hands in a basin of water, and the expression on his face is one of complete torment. The actor playing Pilate has captured something so haunting in that brief clip, the look of a man who knows he's making the wrong choice, but feels powerless to do anything else. The water in the basin slowly turns cloudy as he scrubs his hands over and over. And the symbolism is so heavy, so profound, that even in those few seconds of footage, you understand the depth of his guilt and cowardice. Another scene that the trailer briefly shows is the moment when Simon of Cyrene is pulled from the crowd to carry Jesus's cross. And this is where The Chosen's commitment to character development really shines through. According to what people who saw the full trailer have shared online, Simon isn't just a random stranger in this version. The show has been building his character throughout earlier episodes, showing him as someone who's heard about Jesus but remained skeptical, someone who's been watching from the sidelines but never fully committed, and now, in the most unexpected moment, he's thrust into the center of the most significant event in human history. The look of shock and resistance on his face as the Roman soldiers grab him, followed by the slow realization of what he's being asked to do, it's all there in just a few frames of the trailer. But what's really got everyone talking is a scene that appears near the end of the leaked footage. It's a conversation between Jesus and Pilate that doesn't seem to match any of the gospel accounts exactly. And that's what makes it so intriguing. We see them face to face in what looks like a private moment, and Pilate asks Jesus a question that we can't quite hear in the trailer because the audio cuts out. But Jesus's response, we can read his lips, appears to be something profound about truth and kingdoms. The way Jonathan delivers this line, even though we can't hear it yet, carries such weight that you can feel it through the screen. His eyes are locked on Pilate with an intensity that's both compassionate and challenging. And Pilate actually steps back, visibly shaken by whatever Jesus has just said to him. The musical score in this trailer deserves its own moment of appreciation, because what Matthew S. Nelson has created for Season 6 is on another level entirely. What's particularly fascinating about this leaked trailer is how it handles the disciples' reactions throughout Jesus' suffering. And I think this is where The Chosen truly sets itself apart from every other biblical adaptation we've ever seen. We get extended glimpses of John trying to stay close to Jesus, following at a distance as he's being moved from trial to trial. The anguish on John's face is palpable. You can see him wrestling with the desire to intervene and the paralyzing fear of what might happen if he does. There's a moment in the trailer where John reaches out his hand as if to step forward and defend Jesus, but then he stops himself, his hand trembling in midair before falling back to his side. That internal conflict, that self-recrimination for not being brave enough, is conveyed so powerfully without a single word being spoken. And then there's Mary Magdalene. The trailer shows her collapsing to her knees when she first hears that Jesus has been arrested. And the way she's portrayed in these brief clips suggests we're going to see a side of her character we haven't fully explored yet. She's not just Devastated, she's furious. Furious at the injustice, furious at the religious leaders, furious at a world that could treat the man who saved her life with such cruelty. We see her pounding her fists against a wall, tears streaming down her face. And you can almost hear her screaming even though the trailer has muted that particular moment. The raw emotion captured in that scene is going to resonate with anyone who's ever felt helpless, watching someone they love suffer. Now, here's something else that emerged from the leak that has the community absolutely buzzing with speculation. Apparently, there are characters in this season who haven't been prominent in previous seasons but will play crucial roles in the crucifixion narrative. The trailer gives us quick flashes of faces we don't immediately recognize: a Roman centurion, who appears multiple times throughout the clips, always watching Jesus with an expression that seems to shift from curiosity to something deeper. Could this be the centurion who eventually declares, "Truly this was the Son of God"? The way he's framed in these shots, always slightly separated from the other soldiers, always seeming to observe rather than participate in the cruelty, suggests his character arc is going to be significant. There's also a woman shown briefly in the crowd scenes, and based on the way she's positioned and the intensity of her focus on Jesus, many people are speculating this might be Veronica, the woman who, according to tradition, wiped Jesus' face on the way to Calvary. The Chosen has never shied away from including traditional elements that aren't explicitly in scripture but have been part of Christian heritage for centuries. So seeing them potentially incorporate this moment would be incredibly meaningful. The compassion in this woman's eyes as she watches Jesus pass by, the way she clutches a piece of cloth in her hands, it's all there in just a few seconds of footage. But it's enough to make you wonder about the beautiful moment of mercy we might witness. What's absolutely brilliant about how this trailer is structured is that it doesn't give away everything. Despite all the footage that's leaked, despite all the scenes we've glimpsed, there's still so much we don't know. The trailer deliberately holds back from showing us certain key moments. We don't see the actual crucifixion itself that's clearly being saved for the theatrical release of Episode 7 in spring 2027. We don't see the full resurrection scene, though there are hints at the end of the trailer that suggest Season 6 won't end on the darkness of the cross but will give us at least a glimpse of the hope that's coming. The final frame of the leaked trailer is simply an empty tomb, with light streaming out from the entrance. And those few seconds are enough to remind us that this story doesn't end in death. The production quality visible in this trailer is absolutely stunning, and you can tell that the budget for Season 6 has been significantly larger than previous seasons. The sets are more elaborate, the costumes more detailed, the crowd scenes more expansive. There's a shot in the trailer of Jesus being led through the streets of Jerusalem, and the sheer number of extras filling the scene, the authentic-looking architecture, the attention to historical detail, it all combines to create something that looks less like a streaming series and more like a major theatrical release. Dallas Jenkins and his team have clearly poured everything they have into making the season as visually and emotionally impactful as possible. And we need to talk about Jonathan Rumy's physical transformation for this season, because what's visible in the trailer is both impressive and concerning from a fan's perspective. Jonathan has spoken in interviews about how demanding the filming process was. And seeing him in these clips, you can understand why. He's visibly thinner, his face more gaunt, his body language completely transformed from the confident, joyful Jesus we've watched in earlier seasons. This is a Jesus who is carrying an unbearable burden. And Jonathan has physically embodied that in a way that's almost difficult to watch. You can see the exhaustion in his posture, the pain in his movements. And knowing that Jonathan pushed himself to these limits for the sake of authenticity makes his performance even more remarkable and humbling. Section 4, approximately 5,100 characters. One of the most talked about aspects of this leaked trailer is how it portrays the relationship between Jesus and his Father during these darkest hours. And I think this is going to be one of the most theologically rich elements of the entire season. There are several moments in the trailer where we see Jesus looking up toward heaven, his lips moving in what appears to be silent prayer. And the camera work during these scenes is absolutely masterful. The way the light falls on his face, the way the background blurs so that nothing else matters except this intimate conversation between Father and Son, it's powerful beyond words. We get a brief audio clip where Jesus whispers, "Not my will, but yours." And the brokenness in Jonathan's voice during that line is enough to bring tears to your eyes. Even in this short preview, the Gethsemane scene, based on what we can piece together from the leaked footage, is going to be absolutely devastating. The trailer shows Jesus on his face in the garden, and we can see his whole body shaking with the weight of what he's about to endure. The disciples are sleeping in the background, just as scripture tells us. But the way The Chosen frames this moment emphasizes Jesus' complete isolation. In that critical hour, he's surrounded by friends, yet utterly alone in his suffering. There's a shot where the camera pulls back to show Jesus in the center of the frame, almost swallowed up by the darkness around him, and the visual metaphor of him bearing the weight of the world's sin in that solitary moment is so striking that you can't look away. What's also generating massive discussion is how the trailer handles Judas's betrayal and its aftermath. We see the kiss of betrayal. Of course that's unavoidable, but what's different here is the focus on Judas's face immediately after. The regret is instant. The horror of what he's just done crashes over him like a wave, and you can see the exact moment when he realizes the magnitude of his mistake. The trailer then cuts to a later scene where Judas is trying to return the 30 pieces of silver, throwing them at the feet of the religious leaders. And their cold indifference to his anguish is chilling. They've gotten what they wanted. They don't care about the spiritual destruction of the man who delivered it to them. And the way Judas is portrayed in these brief clips suggests The Chosen is really going to explore the tragedy of his choice. Not just condemn him, but help us understand the human weakness and desperation that led to such a catastrophic decision. Now, let's address something that a lot of people are wondering about after seeing this leaked trailer. How graphic will the suffering actually be? Based on what we've seen, Dallas Jenkins appears to have found a delicate balance. This isn't going to be the Passion of the Christ level of graphic violence, but it's also not going to shy away from the reality of what Jesus endured. The trailer shows us enough to understand the brutality. We see the crown of thorns, we see the wounds, we see Jesus struggling under the weight of the cross, but it never feels exploitative or gratuitous. The focus remains on the emotional and spiritual suffering rather than just the physical torture. There's one particular shot where we see Jesus' face after he's been struck, and rather than zooming in on the injury, the camera stays focused on his eyes, and what we see there is not anger or resentment, but an almost incomprehensible love and forgiveness. That choice to emphasize Jesus' response rather than the violence itself speaks volumes about the kind of story Dallas is trying to tell. The women at the cross are also featured prominently in the leaked trailer, and this is another area where The Chosen's character development is going to pay off beautifully. We see Mary, Jesus' mother, being supported by other women as she watches her son suffer. And the grief on her face is the grief of every mother who's ever watched their child in pain and been powerless to stop it. There's a moment where she tries to push forward through the crowd, reaching toward Jesus, and the Roman soldiers hold her back. The helplessness in that moment, the desperation of a mother's love colliding with the brutality of Roman execution, it's captured so authentically that you feel it in your chest. Section 5, approximately 5,100 characters. The technical achievements visible in this leaked trailer cannot be overstated, and I think when we finally sit down to watch these episodes in full, we're going to be absolutely blown away by what the team has accomplished. The cinematography alone represents a massive leap forward from previous seasons. Every frame looks like it could be a painting. The composition, the use of shadow and light, the way the camera moves through scenes with such intentionality. There's a sweeping shot in the trailer that starts on Jesus' face and then pulls back to reveal the massive crowd surrounding him and the scale of that moment. The visual representation of Jesus standing alone against the world is breathtaking. You can see that every single shot has been carefully considered, every angle chosen to maximize emotional impact while serving the story. The sound design is another element that stands out even in these leaked clips. Beyond the musical score, there's incredible attention to the ambient sounds that create atmosphere. We hear the jeering of crowds, the clanking of armor, the whisper of wind through the streets, footsteps echoing on stone. All of these details layer together to make the world feel lived in and real. There's a moment in the trailer where everything goes silent except for the sound of Jesus' breathing. And that simple choice to strip away all other noise and focus on that one human sound is more powerful than any dramatic music could have been. It reminds us that this is a real person experiencing real suffering, not just a theological concept or historical figure. And I have to mention the performances of the supporting cast, because what we see in this trailer suggests everyone has brought their absolute best to the season. The actor playing Caiaphas has this chilling combination of self-righteousness and barely concealed fear. You can see that he believes he's doing the right thing while simultaneously knowing deep down that he's orchestrating a terrible injustice. Pilate's actor has captured the weakness of a man who values political stability over moral courage, and watching him squirm under the pressure of making a decision he doesn't want to make is both frustrating and tragic. Even the Roman soldiers, who could easily be portrayed as one-dimensional villains, are given moments of humanity that complicate our feelings about them. What really strikes me after processing all of this leaked material is how Season 6 is going to challenge us as viewers in ways we might not be fully prepared for. This isn't going to be comfortable television. This isn't something we can watch casually while scrolling on our phones. This season is going to demand our full attention, our emotional investment, and our willingness to sit with discomfort and grief. And honestly, that's exactly what this story deserves. We've spent 5 seasons falling in love with Jesus through The Chosen's beautiful portrayal of his ministry, his relationships, his humanity. Now we have to walk with him through the valley of the shadow of death. And that's not going to be easy, but it's necessary, because we can't truly appreciate the resurrection without understanding the cost of the crucifixion. The fact that Episode 7, the crucifixion episode, will be released separately as a theatrical experience in spring 2027 shows how seriously Dallas Jenkins is taking this material. He wants us to experience that moment in community in the darkness of a theater, with the full weight of cinematic presentation. And after seeing what's in this leaked trailer, I completely understand that decision. Some moments are too significant to be watched alone on a phone screen. Some moments require us to gather together, to share the grief and the hope as a collective body of believers. So here we are, standing on the edge of what might be the most important season of television in The Chosen's history. October 3rd, 2026 is circled on my calendar in red, and I know millions of other fans are counting down the days just like I am. We're not ready for this season. I don't think we ever could be. But we're going to watch it anyway because this story matters too much to turn away from. Jonathan Roumie and the entire cast have poured their hearts and souls into bringing these most difficult moments to life, and we owe it to them, and more importantly to the story itself, to witness what they've created. I want to hear from you right now, after everything we've talked about, after seeing these leaked details. How are you feeling about Season 6? Are you ready to walk through this valley with Jesus? Do you think you'll watch all 6 episodes in one sitting or space them out? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I think we're all going to need each other to process what's coming. And if this breakdown helped you understand what to expect or got you even more excited for October, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe so we can continue this journey together. Because when Season 6 finally arrives, we're going to have so much to talk about, so many emotions to unpack, and I want you here for all of it. This is going to be the television event of 2026, and I cannot wait to experience it alongside all of you.